Okay, somebody asked me to make a video about my diet and what I eat. But before I start, I should note that I farted 2 or 3 times a minute ago, and my wife said it's a good thing that they can't smell you on your video. I agree. So I'll just basically go through all the different things that I eat. Yeah, this is a Rolling Rock beer. I do drink beer. I'll sometimes have 2 or 3 a night. Probably drink 8 to 10 a week. That's pretty typical for me. But anyways, I'll start with my protein. Typically, I get most of my protein from lean meat sources, such as chicken. I'll buy it in a big package, fresh or frozen. I'll trim all the fat off of it first, and then eat it. I get a lot of protein from eggs. I like shrimp and cottage cheese. I usually get the 2%. I like to taste better. Greek yogurt's also good. I'll eat a lot of that. My whey protein is another thing that I use to make sure I get my protein. The other lean meat things that I'll eat will be tuna, although not very often. London broil, I'll get that and usually buy it fresh and trim it. I trim all the fat off of it, at least all the stuff that I can. Whatever's marbled in the meat you can't get to. But as far as my fat is concerned, I typically like to get most of my fat from nut butters like peanut butter or Nutella, and cheese. I love cheese because it's high in protein as well, but it's also really good to put on sandwiches or whatever. My carbs, I like these little raviolis you can get at Trader Joe's. They're about 10 grams of protein per serving, so they're high in protein as well, but 37 grams of carbs per serving. I like macaroni and cheese. I'll eat a lot of rice, white rice, jasmine rice, brown rice. I don't care. It doesn't make any bit of difference to me. Another thing that I really like for my carbs is oatmeal. It's typically what I eat in the morning for breakfast with a scoop of whey protein, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and some honey. Oh yeah, I should include that. There you go. I like to eat honey. It's good. It mixes in very nicely with your oatmeal. I recommend you try that out. Other carb sources that I'll drink before I train or I'll drink while I'm training. I'm trying this. I got this for free. They're letting me test it. I like this a lot. Highly recommend it. If you've never tried it, I've got 1 more scoop left before I do my final review, and I really enjoyed it. Another thing that I drink a lot of when I'm not doing a log is Gatorade. I'll sip on that while I'm training. It's another great carb source. And sometimes if in the morning I don't feel like eating a whole lot and I'm kind of in a rush, I'll pound down some carbs via Gatorade or some other kind of carbohydrate drink where I don't have to eat a lot. I can eat a little bit and slam a drink full of carbs and get it that way. So this looks pretty clean for the most part. You'd think that I was a bodybuilder based if you just looked at these things, but I don't. This isn't all I eat. If I don't feel like eating oatmeal or I don't feel like eating pasta or cooking it, then I'll eat Lucky Charms or whatever other cereal we have. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. I'll eat 100 grams of carbohydrates from Lucky Charms. I'll eat, after I'm done training, I don't feel like cooking, I'll come home and eat a bunch of rainbow sherbet or ice cream, whatever we have. If it's full fat, pure carbs, I don't care. If it's pure carbs, then I'll find a way to get my fats. If it's straight up ice cream, then I'll include the fats and eat the carbs. Ice cream sandwiches. Another thing I like to eat is these pretzel slims. Get these at Trader Joe's. Again, if I don't feel like cooking, I'll throw a bunch of these on a plate, sprinkle them with shredded cheese, and have some little pretzel nachos. I eat a lot of tortilla chips too. So these things here aren't my main source. They're what I eat a lot of, but I don't limit myself to this. I'll eat whatever. I don't care. If I need carbs, I'll get them. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me how I get them. I just get them. It doesn't matter to me if it's a whole grain source, if it's a complex, if it's a simple. It doesn't matter. I will say that my protein, I like to get the bulk of it, most of it, via lean meat. And then, obviously, I'll eat a lot of eggs, cottage cheese, yogurt, and other things. But I try to get most of my protein from those lean meats to get that full amino acid profile. And there's a lot of trace protein in this other stuff, especially like this pasta has a fair amount of protein. Mac and cheese has it. Your fats from the nut butters, the cheese has a lot of protein, but again, I try to get most of my protein from the meats and the eggs, and maybe the cottage cheese. Yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I forgot to add one thing.
You're going to have to do the whole thing again?
No. Fortunately, I can just use the YouTube editor to put these two together, so it's good. I use this gram scale. It's digital. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond. I know that's funny. But I weigh out my meat. I make sure that I get enough. And I'll typically weigh out my pasta. I'll weigh out my rice. I'll weigh out my oats. I'll weigh out my cottage cheese. You know, I read the nutrition label on the back of whatever it is I'm eating to make sure, hey, I'm getting the numbers that I need. Do I weigh out everything all the time? No, but I would say about 80 to 90% of the time I use this gram scale right here to weigh out a lot of what I'm eating to make sure I'm getting enough and make sure I'm not getting too much. I say it a lot. There's a law of diminishing returns. Your body's only going to process so much food anyways, and so at some point you're going to hit that sweet spot where your body is getting enough and you continue to make progress and you gain, but the weight that you're gaining is good solid weight, and once you go over that sweet spot, you're not going to be any more anabolic or efficient than you would be if you just found that sweet spot and stuck there. So I encourage you to use a scale to make sure you're getting enough and not just eat everything in sight and think that you're getting enough, because odds are you're eating way too much and you're short, or what you're doing is not optimal.